Sam here from CreativeMinds. In this video, we're taking an in-depth look at the Live Search Filter plugin for WordPress. This plugin allows you to add a fast live search filter to elements on both the front end and the back end of your WordPress site, including to any list or table that exists or that you create on your site's pages or posts.
First, we are going to explore how the plugin operates on the admin dashboard. On the plugin page, if you scroll down to the bottom, you can click on Admin Rules, and here you will find a list of all of the different areas of the admin space where you can use the fast live search to filter your content, including plugins, posts and pages, categories and tags, comments, and users. You can choose for the CM Fast Live Search to replace the regular search functions for any or all of these admin areas. So here's an example of a Fast Live Search filter for the pages search. And as soon as you start typing, the results for that particular page are immediately filtered letter by letter. You don't need to click enter to get the results. And here we have another example of the Fast Live Search filter activated on the categories page. And as you can see, it gives you lightning fast filtered search results. Now we're going to take a look at a search bar that existed previously on a content page, and we are going to target it using the front-end rules included in the plugin options. So this is what the experience will be like for a user after you target an existing search function. On that page, they can easily locate and use the search bar, and it will filter results within either a list or a table. And you can target this list or table using CSS classes or IDs. Here, the container we targeted is a list of names. You can change the color of the search bar and the default text that appears within the search bar. And when you start typing in your search, the results are filtered immediately, letter by letter, without even having to click enter. So now let's take a look at the back end to see how this search bar is targeted. You will need to edit the page in the text view in order to add the input and container selector. At the top, we have the input code, and here you will need to enter our input selector for either a class or an ID. Then below we have the list of names, and you'll need to target the container and input our container selector within that list or table. If you go to the plugins options page, here you'll find the exact rules for the code that you need to insert in the edit space for each page with an existing search bar. Whether you use classes or IDs as your CSS selectors, you need to define an input selector and a container selector. The input selector will select the search bar, and the container selector selects the container, either an HTML list or table, that has the results that you want to filter. For example, you can filter a list by line or a table by row. When you use classes to select the input and container, the codes you use will need to have a period at the beginning of them in order to indicate that it is a class. Likewise, when you use IDs as input and container selectors, you will need to use a hashtag at the beginning of the code. The example here is using classes, so the codes start with a period. When you create a new rule to target an existing search bar, you also need to indicate the page or post that contains the search bar. Next, you can choose the color of the search bar and the default text that appears in it. Be sure to save the changes you make to any rules. Now when we return to edit our page, we will need to make sure the code matches exactly the text that we entered in our front-end rule. So the input selector is fast search, and the container selector is search list. And when we view the page, you can see the changes we made to the color of the search bar, now it's blue, and to the default text it contains. Now let's see how you can use the CM Fast Live Search supported shortcode and included parameters to easily create search bars from scratch. Using our same list, instead of having the HTML search bar that we target and convert into a Fast Live Search, we're going to insert a Fast Live Search directly, using the shortcode and parameters you can find on the plugin options page. So here at the top of the edit page, we have our shortcode. The first part of the shortcode is generic, and then we have our container selector. This particular container selector is pointing to a CSS ID, and we know this because of the hashtag before the text. Below, we have the list of names with the ID inside of that element. Next, we have the background parameter, which you can define using either the name of a color or any hex color code. Finally, we have the placeholder parameter, where you can choose the default text to appear in the search bar. And when you return to the page, we have a red search bar with our new placeholder text that is still filtering live search results from the HTML list we defined as the container inside of our shortcode. A great feature of this Fast Live Search plugin is the ability to filter results found in HTML tables of any size. If we go to edit this page, you can see that we are using the supported shortcode for the search bar, and our container selector is a CSS class TG, which is used to define the table element on this page. And we have a background parameter of green and a placeholder defined as search class records.
With easy-to-use shortcodes and simple-to-configure rules to target existing search functions, the Live Search Filter plugin is the perfect solution to get a high-speed filter function on both the front end and the back end of your WordPress site. Visit cminds.com to download the plugin today.